aspirants, welcome to today's lecture on the significance of empowering local bodies for effective urban governance in India. This is a very important topic for civil services main exam as well as state PCS exams also, and this topic belongs to General Studies paper 2, Indian polity and good governance. The 74th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1992 granted constitutional status to urban local bodies as the third tier of governance. But what are the key challenges faced by these local bodies, and what steps can be taken to empower them to address complex urban challenges? In August-September 2024, heavy rain severely affected cities across Gujarat. In Vadodara, the downpour caused flooding, power outages, and streets filled with the waste, effectively crippling the city. While residents criticized the Vadodara Municipal Corporation for its response, the local body worked tirelessly to address the damage caused by the rains. The incident highlights the vital role of urban local bodies in managing our cities and their present day challenges. Now, firstly, you know, administrative structure in India administrative structure सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, केंद्र सरकार, सेकेंड इज स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, राज्य सरकार, एंड थर्ड इज अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज, स्थानीय स्वशासन या स्थानीय सरकार भी कह सकते हैं। अब देखिए यहां पर जो हमारी स्थानीय सरकार होती है, देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ लोकल गवर्नमेंट, अर्बन एंड रूरल। बट अभी हम अर्बन लोकल बॉडी के बारे में स्टडी कर रहे हैं। तो अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज के अंडर में सब डिवीजन ऑफिस होते हैं एंड नेक्स्ट वार्ड ऑफिस। मींस नेशन को संचालित करने के लिए हमारे यहां गवर्नमेंट्स को कैसे डिवाइड किया गया, सभी को अलग अलग डिसेंट्रलाइज किया गया है। और अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज जस्ट एग्जाम्पल ऑफ डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन। एंड गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज बनाती है, ये सभी को अपने अपने क्षेत्र में कार्य क्षेत्र डिवाइड किए गए हैं। इनको ऑर्डर कैसे, पावर्स जो टॉप टू बॉटम, नीचे ऊपर से नीचे की ओर, सेम एज इट इज फाइनेंस वर्क भी ऊपर से नीचे की ओर करता है। एंड नेक्स्ट इज कि जो हमारा अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज है, अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज देखा जाए तो इसका हायरार्कियल जो हायरार्की सिस्टम बनाया गया है। तो इसमें आपको ये देखना है कि कैसे हर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जो कि दिल्ली में रहती है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हर राज्यों की राजधानी होती है जहां से स्टेट की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन संचालित होता है, फिर ये देखिए हमारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव यूनिट किस तरीके से डिवाइड की गई है, डिविजन्स, डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स। और डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में देखिए रूरल एंड अर्बन होते हैं। तो रूरल एरियाज में देखिए ब्लॉक्स, तहसील्स एंड विलेज, ग्राम पंचायत। बट अर्बन एरियाज में ये आप देखा जाए अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज, यूएलबीज। तो यूएलबीज में देखिए जहां बड़े शहर होते हैं, जहां पॉपुलेशन ज्यादा होती है, जैसे इन मध्य प्रदेश के दृष्टिकोण में देखा जाए तो इंदौर, भोपाल, ग्वालियर, जबलपुर, ये बिग सिटी इन एमपी। तो यहाँ पर म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन है, तो इसको हम नगर पालिक निगम भी हिंदी में बोलते हैं, महानगर पालिका भी बोलते हैं। और यदि बड़े शहरों की बात किया जैसे मुंबई, दिल्ली, चेन्नई, कलकत्ता, तो यहाँ पर म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन होते हैं, यहाँ महानगर पालिका बोली जाती है। म्युनिसिपलिटी उससे निचले लेवल पे होते हैं, महानगर पालिका एंड देन नगर पंचायत। यानी इन तीनों को मिलाकर इसे हम नाम दे देते हैं थ्री टीयर बॉडी सिस्टम, थ्री टीयर्स सिस्टम, यानी त्रिस्तरीय संरचना। एंड नगर पंचायत से नीचे क्या होते हैं, वार्ड्स, अलग अलग वार्ड्स डिवाइड होते हैं। नाउ नेक्स्ट तो यू नो अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज। अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज, म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशंस, म्युनिसिपैलिटीज और नगर पंचायत are the fundamental unit of urban governance in our cities. They are the first point of contact of citizens and are responsible for providing essential services such as waste management, sanitation and urban planning. Historically, pre-colonial Indian cities had informal governance structure that varied based on the city's primary activities, whether as trading hubs or religious means temples, towns. In the colonial era, the British established city level institutions such as improvement trusts to deal with the city's sanitation problems. The improvement trusts were tasked with the responsibility of cleaning up the city and ensuring the epidemics were prevented. For example, these trusts in Bombay or Calcutta were tasked to handle diseases like the plague by planning for wider streets, improving drainage systems, and decongesting overcrowded housing. The first municipal body was established in Madras in 1687, followed by Bombay and Calcutta. This line is important for preliminary examination also. And in 1882, Lord Ripon introduced the resolution for local self-governments. This line is very important. Preliminary examinations. Lord Ripon, called as a father of local self-government in India, thereby laying the foundation of democratically elected municipal governments to manage cities. By 1935, Government of India Acts recognized the importance of local self-governments and they were treated under provincial or state subjects. Now, next is devolution of powers. You know what is devolution of powers? Many of India's freedom fighters began their political careers in municipal politics. For example, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was a municipal councillor in Ahmedabad. After independence, municipal corporation continued to evolve but faced major obstacles with a growing urban population and limited infrastructure. They were heavily reliant on their respective state governments for financial and operational support. With the introduction of the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1992, urban local bodies gained constitutional recognition as the third tier of governance alongside the central and state governments. The part 9th A of the Indian Constitution details the compositions, roles, and responsibilities of these urban local bodies and grants them powers to manage a range of services from urban planning and land use of public health and waste management. This para is important for preliminary examination, and the 12th schedule of the Constitution specifies 18 functions that are devolved to these urban local bodies. This line is very important for preliminary examination. हमेशा यहाँ एक क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं, तो मेन लाइन लर्न करें. द 12th schedule of the Constitution specifies 18 functions that are devolved to these urban local bodies. The amendment also mandated elections every 5 years with municipal councillor elected from local constituencies known as wards, while the elected mayor serves as the ceremonial head. Real executive power rests with the municipal commissioner, a state appointed bureaucrat. Limited financial resources. However, municipal bodies are stressed thin, managing everything from waste collection to city planning. Urban local bodies have insufficient resources and limited personnel to address a wide variety of complex urban problems. The main challenges that hamper the effectiveness of urban local bodies are their limited financial resources, constrained political autonomy, and low state capacity. Urban local bodies struggle with their finances. The major source of municipal revenue is property taxes, with remaining funds coming from the state government, while urban local bodies can raise revenue through bonds or other securities, such as Ahmedabad municipal bonds in 1994. Lack of administrative and technical expertise remains a problem. They also charge low user fees, such as parking charges or commercial taxes, especially when many of these activities happen in the prime areas of the city. As mentioned earlier, urban local bodies have an elected head and executive head who is appointed by the state government. The arrangement entrusts more executive power to municipal commissioners than mayor. This often leads to administrative overlaps, which reportedly delay decision making, especially at a time of crisis. Moreover, state government, due to their control over funding, exert significant influence over city affairs. Recently, the Bihar Municipality Amendment Bill 2024 was passed amidst considerable opposition. The bill seeks to curtail the powers of elected councillors, particularly in bringing no confidence motion against mayors. This move paves the way for even greater involvement by state governments in day-to-day functioning of urban local bodies. Further, diminishing the autonomy of local governance, such legislative change seemingly reinforce the power imbalance between state and local governments. In addition, the low state capacity of urban local bodies dampens their service delivery. A study of Niti Aayog and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs shows that there is one planner for 75,000 urban population, which is a low figure compared to other local bodies or other local governments globally. There are only 5,000 qualified town planners, and Indian cities would require at least 3 lakh town planners by 2031. The shortage of personnel and expertise make urban management an arduous task for the urban local bodies. For Indian cities to respond effectively to urban problems, municipal governments reforms are needed. In many cities around the world, city governments have significant power in the shaping their urban environment. For example, the mayors in London or New York have enormous power and influence their cities' policies on important subjects such as housing, transportation, and infrastructure. Same as it is, for example, transport for London comes under the direct purview of the mayors of London. Transport of London is responsible for improving mobility and accessibility in London. It is also in charge of implementing the mayor's sustainable transport plan, whereby 18% of trips in London shall be on foot, cycle, or public transport by 2040. Greater financial autonomy could enable urban local bodies to generate revenue and reduce dependence on state government funding. These funds could be raised through pro-market measures such as bonds and securities, or by laying user charge such as composition charge, parking fees, etc. Innovative financial plans with diverse source of income allow urban local bodies to be more flexible and creative to address their problems. Urban local bodies could also create participatory budgets whereby city residents can participate in deciding how their tax can be effectively utilized. Many cities around the world dedicate a small percentage of their budgets to participatory budgeting, and city residents who are more aware of the local problems use these budgets to address them. Lastly, urban local bodies may seek to upgrade their technical expertise and state capacity by bringing in expert and personnel for improved service delivery. Several problems in cities, especially the ones such as urban floods or urban heat islands effects, have no ready solutions. To address these problems, there need to be a decentralized and situated approach according to the principle of subsidiarity. Local issues should be managed at the local level, meaning that urban local bodies are best suited to address city specific challenges rather than relying on state or central governments. Now, you know how to generate questions in main examinations. आपको यह जानना जरूरी है इस लेक्चर्स के माध्यम से कि इस टॉपिक से क्वेश्चंस कैसे मेन एग्जाम में पूछे जा सकते हैं। जैसे हाउ डिड द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ द 74th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 1992 चेंज अर्बन गवर्नेंस इन इंडिया, एंड व्हाट पावर्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज वर डिवॉल्व्ड टू अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज। एक तो इस तरह से क्वेश्चन जनरेट हो सकता है। सेकेंड, evaluate the key challenges faced by urban local bodies. What steps can be taken to further empower these local bodies to address complex urban challenges? And next questions generate, how does contemporary urbanism advocate for the integration of diverse modes of urban planning and management? Discuss this in relation to the current trends and challenges in urban development in India. And next question generates, how can municipal governance reforms help cities respond more effectively to urban challenges? Evaluate with examples from other countries. तो देखिए, ये टॉपिक इसलिए इस टॉपिक से क्वेश्चन मेन एग्जाम में पूछे जा सकते हैं क्योंकि आप भी जानते हैं कि दिल्ली में भी ऐसी इंसिडेंट घटनाएं हुई हैं और गुजरात का भी रहा और ये काफी चर्चा में रहा, कई दिनों तक के समाचार पत्रों की सुर्खियों में बना रहा। अब इसीलिए क्या है कि संभावना है कि इस बार की सिविल सर्विसेज मेन एग्जाम में इस टॉपिक से क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है। थैंक यू, हैव ए नाइस डे।